What if I told you there's a country where you could visit a new beach every single day for almost 30 years and never repeat a spot? And that one country covers an entire continent and yet is also called the world's biggest island. That's not science fiction. That's Australia. Australia, the land down under. It's a place of outback extremes, jaw-dropping landscapes, record-breaking wildlife, and once-in-a-lifetime geography facts that sound absolutely unreal. But today, you're going to discover them all. So, strap in and get ready for 15 Australia geography facts you won't believe are true. Fact 15. Australia, the only country that covers an entire continent. Let's start with one of the most mind-bending truths. Australia is the only country in the world to cover an entire continent on its own. Plenty of continents are sliced up by borders. Think Africa with over 50 countries or Europe with almost 50. But Australia is unique. It's officially the Commonwealth of Australia, and its territory isn't just the sprawling mainland, but also the island of Tasmania and dozens of smaller islands like Kangaroo Island and Christmas Island. Imagine looking at a map. There's Australia sitting proud between the sparkling Indian Ocean to its west and the wild Pacific to its east, covering about 7.7 million square kilometers, almost 3 million square miles. Australia sits at the very intersection of continent and country, a completely one-of-a-kind oddity. And get this, despite holding an entire continent title, Australia is also the smallest continent, but the world's largest island. It's a geographical paradox that makes you wonder, what else about this place can surprise you? Fact 14, the sixth largest country on Earth. Ever tried wrapping your head around magnitudes? Here's something to blow your mind. Australia is the sixth largest country on Earth by land area. With its 7.7 million square kilometers, it claims about 5% of the world's land. Only Russia, Canada, China, the United States, and Brazil can claim to be larger. Just to put this into perspective, you could fit the United Kingdom, yes, the whole UK, into Australia 32 times. Imagine stacking 32 Britons inside one landmass. And if you drove from Australia's westernmost tip to its eastern edge, you'd travel nearly 4,000 kilometers. Roughly the same stretch as crossing the whole United States coast to coast. Superimpose Australia on a map of Europe, it would just about smother the entire continental mainland. Australia, absolutely massive, but with so much of it left wild and untamed. Fact 13, Australia has more beaches than any other country. Let's talk about something legendary, beaches. With about 35,000 kilometers, yes, 35,000, of coastline, Australia ranks as one of the world's most coastal nations. Move aside, USA and Brazil, Australia stands undefeated when it comes to sheer number of beaches. Picture this, over 11,000 named beaches. If you set a goal to visit a new Australian beach every single day, you wouldn't repeat for nearly 30 years. Let that sink in, a lifetime, and you're still not done. That's longer than the entire circumference of the moon. Fact 12. Over 85% of Australians live close to the coast. Let's zoom in. Did you know that more than 85% of all Australians live within just 50 kilometers, about 30 miles, of the coast? That's the lion's share of their 28 million strong population. Imagine most of a country's people able to dip their toes in the ocean after less than an hour's drive. If you flew over Australia at night, you'd trace the outline of its coast by following the city lights, a living neon border where civilization meets the sea. The interior? The famed Outback, a vast, dry expanse with less than one person per square kilometer. Cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Perth all hug the shore and together account for nearly half the entire population. Inland? That's mostly wild unknown. Fact 11. Australia has no land borders, only water neighbors. Think of all the countries you know. They probably share a land border with someone else. Not Australia. It stands totally alone, the only major country whose borders are entirely ocean. Australia is like an island fortress, surrounded by vast stretches of water. The Indian Ocean, the Timor Sea, the Arafura Sea, the Coral Sea, and the mighty Pacific. Its closest neighbors, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, East Timor, Solomon Islands, New Caledonia, that's a French territory, Vanuatu, and New Zealand, are separated by hundreds or even thousands of kilometers of water. Australia's exclusive economic zone is huge, over 8 million square kilometers, meaning it holds rights to even more ocean territory than its own land area. Fact 10. New Zealand is not part of Australia. Here comes a fun myth buster. People all over the world assume Australia and New Zealand are joined at the hip, maybe even the same country. But that's like confusing Canada with the US. Close neighbors, sure, but absolutely separate. New Zealand lies about 1,500 kilometers, 930 miles southeast across the Tasman Sea. Flying from Sydney to Auckland takes roughly 3 hours over uninterrupted ocean. New Zealand is its own place. 2 main islands, a unique government and currency, and a total landmass about 3.5% the size of Australia's. Fact 9. The Australian Alps, where down under gets snow. Wait, snow in Australia? It sounds like fake news, but the Australian Alps, stretching roughly 600 kilometers across New South Wales, Victoria, and the Australian Capital Territory, are blanketed in snow each winter. Sometimes parts of the Australian Alps get even more snow than the Swiss Alps at lower elevations. The Australian Alps are part of the Great Dividing Range, which is, get this, the third longest land-based mountain range in the world. Even in a land famous for burning sun and dusty outback, these peaks attract thousands of skiers and snowboarders every winter to resorts like Thredbo and Perisher. Down under, sometimes it's downright alpine. Fact 8. The Great Barrier Reef, the largest living structure on Earth. Ready to dive into something spectacular? Off the northeast coast of Queensland lies the epic Great Barrier Reef, stretching over 2,300 kilometers, 1,400 miles, composed of nearly 3,000 individual reefs and nearly 900 islands. It's the largest living structure on Earth, teeming with over 1,500 species of fish, 400 types of coral, and countless other marine creatures. Visible from space under the right conditions, its sheer size and vibrant marine colors set it apart from anything else on the planet. Not only is the Great Barrier Reef a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it's one of the richest ecosystems on Earth and a natural wonder that draws millions of tourists every year. Australia isn't just desert and bush, it's coral kingdoms, too. Fact 7. Australia is the lowest and flattest continent. Here's a weird one. On average, Australia stands just 300 meters, less than 1,000 feet, above sea level. That makes it the lowest and flattest continent of all. Why so flat? It all comes down to plate tectonics. Australia sits right near the center of the Indo-Australian plate, so there's little geological drama, no rugged mountain building, no explosive volcanoes. In fact, Australia is the only continent to have 0 active volcanoes today. The last eruption happened more than 4,000 years ago at Mount Gambier. And it's not just flat, it's dry. Deserts and semi-arid scrubland take up around 70% of the mainland, and many regions get less than 300 millimeters, under 12 inches, of rain per year. Fact 6. A nation of isolated islands. Look beyond the mainland, and Australia's surrounded by outlying islands that add to its unique identity. Tasmania, the island state, sits just 240 kilometers south and sports mountains like Mount Ossa, which rises above the typically flat mainland to 1,617 meters, over 5,300 feet. Travel even further out and you reach Macquarie Island, a sub-Antarctic volcanic remnant about 1,500 kilometers southeast of Tasmania, halfway to Antarctica. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and home to truly unusual wildlife, battered by fierce weather all year round. Fact 5. Once connected to Antarctica, a supercontinent tale. Did you know Australia was once attached to Antarctica? Go back in time, way back, about 180 million years ago. Australia was part of Gondwana, a supercontinent with South America, Africa, Antarctica, and India. As the continents drifted apart, most split fast, but Australia and Antarctica stayed joined longer than the rest, only parting finally around 45 million years ago. This ancient link explains a ton. Australia shares unique plant fossils with Antarctica, and even traces of ancient animal lineages. Since breaking away, Australia has slowly drifted northward every year at a pace of a few centimeters. Fact 4. Australia, home to the world's deadliest animals. Ever heard the rumors about every Australian animal trying to kill you? There's a sliver of truth. Australia has some of the most venomous and outright dangerous creatures on Earth. Start with snakes. The inland taipan holds the record for the world's most venomous snake. Its venom could kill several adults with a single bite. There's also the fearsome coastal taipan and the notorious eastern brown snake, all making up a top 5 list any herpetologist would quietly admire. Fact 3. Australia has the longest fence on Earth. You've probably heard of the Great Wall of China, but did you know the world's longest man-made structure is actually in Australia? Meet the Dingo Fence, stretching 5,614 kilometers, over 3,480 miles, from Queensland through New South Wales to South Australia. This wire mesh and post fence was built in the 1880s to protect sheep flocks from marauding dingoes, Australia's wild dogs. The dingo fence costs more than $10 million a year to maintain and has environmental side effects. Fact 2. The largest sand island in the world, Fraser Island. Imagine an island made almost entirely of sand, stretching over 122 kilometers long, about 76 miles, dotted with gigantic dunes up to 240 meters, nearly 800 feet high. Welcome to Fraser Island, the world's largest sand island. The dunes here aren't just massive, they're ancient, with layers dating back more than 700,000 years. Some are parabolic in shape, slowly stabilized over time by hardy plant life. Fraser Island even supports towering rainforests straight from the sand, almost unheard of anywhere in the world. Fact 1. The world's biggest single property, Anna Creek Station. And for our final mind-bending fact, Australia is home to Anna Creek Station, the largest single property in the world. Located deep in South Australia's Outback, Anna Creek sprawls across a mine-stretching 23,677 square kilometers, larger than Israel or the state of New Jersey. Operating as a cattle station, it's so big you could fit several cities inside and still have room to spare. It's a place of survival, drought, extreme heat, scarce water, and scrubby vegetation. So, next time you think you know it all about Earth, remember the land down under. There's still a whole world of surprises waiting for you. If you learned something jaw-dropping today, don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing facts, because every corner of our planet has its own story to tell. See you next time, maybe on a new Australian beach.